Can you see me?
Yes. Hey, Mika.
I was so nervous. I had a dream that I missed the session and everything. I'm like, no.
You know what? Shanisha and I were in the last room, I guess. So I'm going to have her join back here.
I was so nervous. I had the craziest dream that I missed the whole session. Something weird happened. It was crazy.
And here you are in the session right where you're supposed to be.
Yes. Hey, Kira. Hey, ladies.
Make sure everybody is over here because I think I saw Monique and some other people were in the other room. So we're going to give everyone a minute to come on over here. Hey, ladies. Thank you for joining us. All right, Shanisha's hopping over now. How's everybody feeling? Does everybody have their mimosa? Mine is getting low because their Bellini. I didn't have the 2 sessions to get some more. So I'm sipping on the same one from session 1. We're going to make it work, though.
I'm drinking on water because I'm not at home. So when I get back home, I'll be sipping on my
catch up, right?
Right.
Here's Denise. All right, ladies, we're going to go ahead and get started. I will introduce myself. My name is Madden Neshete Jones. You can find me out in the world as Love Madden, Love Maaden. The Love Madden community is all about bringing healing through hospitality. It's all about creating safe spaces for us to gather, share our stories, learn from one another, be real, the type of thing we're doing here. I'm a big proponent of making a meal and gathering around the table. That's what my whole business is built on. And COVID was like, no, sis, you're going to need to pivot because people are not going to be able to gather around the table. So I'm thinking about how we can do this a little differently. But if you want to keep in touch with me, you can definitely follow, get the newsletter at lovemadden.com, follow online at lovemadden on the socials, or you can listen to my podcast. If you need something to do, I got 16 episodes locked and loaded at Love Madden, wherever you podcast. So I'm really honored to be here and really guide this conversation with these ladies, Shanisha and Mika. I am going to introduce the 2 of them, and then we're going to dive right in. Mika Harrell, you can find her on the socials at HWTH blog, right?
Yes, that stands for Hanging with the Harrells.
Hanging with the Harrells. Mika from Hanging with the Harrells is a military wife and a mom of 4 kids. She is from Be More, Baltimore, stand up, living in North Carolina. As a mom, you all know that we have to wear many hats, and she's no exception. She is a blogger. She is a podcast host. Listen to her podcast, Tea with Mika Neek. She's an entrepreneur, and she somewhat still manages to motivate and encourage her tribe of moms to step out on faith and mom slay. If you don't know what that means, it is the art of slaying motherhood. It is also the brand of her merchandise. So grab you some mom slay merch. I already have. Mika looks forward to connecting with all of you. Be sure to follow her on all things social at HWTH blog and at Tea with Mika Neek. Welcome, Mika.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
You're welcome. You're looking great. I also want to introduce our good girlfriend, Tanisha Boswell. You can follow her on the socials at ShanicIABoswell. All of our handles are paused at the top of the chat at Shanisha Boswell. Tanisha is a serial mompreneur and the creator of Black Moms blog at Black Moms blog. It's a collaborative blogging platform that discusses parenting, culture, and lifestyle from a Black mom's point of view. She is also the founder of Self-Care Retreats. Love it. At the Self-Care Retreat, that is an international retreat destination for women of color. Lord knows we all need that. Shanisha is a public speaker and an advocate for self-care for millennial mamas. She has been seen on the OWN Network, HLN, and has been featured in other major publications, sharing her views on millennial motherhood. Welcome, Shanisha.
Hi, thank you for having me. Hi, everyone.
Thank you for being here. All right, ladies, we are going to get this conversation popping. Like I said, make sure that you have your drink in your cup, whatever it is that you're sipping on. We're going to take a minute and top that off. And we're going to go ahead and dive right in. So, Mika, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. So get prepared. We know that there's a lot of pressure for moms to fit into a specific box. No matter what type of mom you are, there are rules and expectations around what the perfect mom looks like. Spoiler alert, who doesn't exist. How have you aligned with or rejected these expectations?
Yeah, so basically, I reject those expectations. I'm not here to fit in anybody's box or mold. I'm here to be me and be the best mom for my kids and the best wife for my husband. So I just say, do you? You know what I mean? Just do you. Be the best mom that you can be. Reach out to your mom tribe, and that's all you need. So anybody else who doesn't agree with you, you don't need them in your life. You don't need that negativity in your life, sis.
I know that's right. Any thoughts about that? How you've either aligned with or rejected that whole notion?
You know, I think traditional motherhood rejected me.
Wow.
I always say that I got pregnant with my daughter at 23 years old, and I always say getting pregnant at 23 felt like becoming pregnant at 16. When I was in college and leaving school, all of my friends were graduating, going to get their master's programs. They were traveling the world, and here I was pregnant. And I was just like, oh my God, what is this life? What did I just sign up for? It felt like I was watching my life as a fly on the wall. It was this complete out-of-body experience, which I think I realized looking back later, that was my own part of postpartum depression that I was going through. And so because of that, because my life had changed so dramatically from my other friends, I had to create a sister circle. I had to create a group of mothers that I could talk to, that could understand that, okay, no longer can I go to the club, but hey, we can go to the park at 11 o'clock in the morning and have a play. And so I feel like traditional motherhood rejected me, and in turn, I reset the standard for what it even looked like.
Yes. So many women are resonating with what you're saying, Shanisha, in the chat. I have heard Alex, she was on the main stage earlier from Babies and Bellinis, say lots of times on her podcast that she got pregnant, I think at 23 as well, that she felt like she was on 16 and pregnant.
It's so exciting.
Yeah. Even with the degree, even, having finished college and all of that, it is definitely a challenge. Okay, second question in the conversation. The theme of this year's conference is honest motherhood behind the filter. How has social media influenced you as a mom? Shanisha, I'm going to start with you. Do you find yourself putting on some filters on your motherhood journey? And if so, why or why not?
I won't say that I put on filters, but I made a post a few weeks ago. I'm a mom blogger. I'm also the creator of one of the biggest Black motherhood blogs out there. And I rarely post my daughter on social media, not on Black Mom's blog, but on my personal account. And I think for anybody watching this, a lot of times as women, we get lost in motherhood. And everything becomes, I'm a mom. We don't lead with anything else. And so when I had my personal platform, I wanted it to be about me because I'm a whole person. And I like to travel and I like to, do different things. And I'm an activist over in these areas. And so it just extended so much past that. So when I started Black Mom's blog in 2015, I didn't get a personal social media for myself, I think, until about 2017. And I was like, what do I talk about? And you always hear people say like, oh, you're just doing it for the gram. But the funny thing is when you do it for the gram, you end up doing it in real life because you need to post something. And so I started going to these events and I started, meeting all these other women. And so I won't say that I necessarily put a filter on it. Like who I show up as online is who I am in real life. It's true and it's authentic, but there are a lot of parts of my life that I keep private because I feel that social media is a time and a place. And you don't have to share everything. I think it's important to share the real parts and to be honest. But to me, I take a photo. I want the people that are going to read the caption, because in the caption is where I'm expressing my heart. I'm talking about what really matters. I'm trying to reach people. The photo is just cute, but it's like, what are the words that you're saying? And so when I talk to women and they're like, I can't be this, I can't create this wonderfully curated social media page. It's like, Are you reading the words of the mom blogger that you're following? What's on her heart? A lot of times she's going to express that in her words.
Yeah. Yes, I will. Anybody who follows me know I will have a whole dissertation in my caption, child. That's where I get it all out. So I totally resonate with
people don't read, but the ones that you're supposed to be, who's in your group, your circle will read. Yep. And even if it's not everyone, you want the people who are taking the time to read your posts.
Yeah, those are your people. That's right. Mika, same question. Do you find yourself putting on some filters? And if so, why or why not?
I do not feel like I put on filters. If anybody follows me and they see my IG stories, I like to show real life motherhood. It is crazy in my house. It's loud. I think for me, growing up without my mom was addicted to drugs. So for me, I want to just be the best mom I can be. So I'm just like so into showing my kids and showing tips about motherhood and just keeping it real in my, my stories and just talking about my journey, because they are moms that I feel that can relate to that. You just never know. There's so many people. When I was on Kay Alex's Babies and Bellini podcast, just talking about the death of my mom, so many people resonating with having a mom addicted to drugs and just being able to share that with other people. I used to be embarrassed. I never wanted my mom to show up at my school. I thought it would be embarrassing, but being able to talk about that now and seeing other people feel the same way, it just really makes me happy that I'm so open with my stories. But they're crazy. I mean, they're young. That's why I'm here, because they're too loud.
I just want to say, I love how that was heavy.
Yes.
That was really heavy. And the way that you just like wove that in there and somehow still made us laugh at the end of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
To say, Honey's, earlier when you said, I can totally agree with you when you said having your child at 23. When I was 23, I actually had to take care of my two sisters. And so when I graduated from college, I had to take care of two teenagers and get them enrolled in high school. So I didn't get to do what other people got to do. Like my friends were going on trips and I was working at the hospital, pushing patients around. Like I hated it. But at the end of the day, it was like I had to do it for my sister. So I wanted to say I truly feel what you felt as far as having a baby at 23, and I had to do the same thing. So that story was
both of you all are so amazing. In the last session, we talked about what is the definition of Black girl magic, and it's all up and through this virtual session right here, all the Black girl glitter. Mika, you are such an amazing mother. I really admire you. And I really admire you for your vulnerability and for sharing your story, because people don't know you can't tell by looking at somebody what their story is. As much as people try to judge a book by its cover, you can't. And so I always push myself to be honest about my story, and I find that every time I share it, it blesses somebody. So I'm just so grateful to you, even though you've got this beautiful page with these wonderful kids and this beautiful home, that you take the time to share that, because that resonates. So thank you.
Thank you.
In that same vein, ladies, I want to talk a little bit about what kind of affirmations that we're speaking to ourselves and what kind of mantras we have created for ourselves. So Shanisha, I'll start with you this time. What is a motherhood mantra that you have created for yourself?
So one of my favorite mantras that I use, and I've shared this, I actually had this conversation earlier today, when it comes to motherhood, you don't live for your children, you live for yourself. And your children benefit from a happy, healthy mother. Because if you live for your children, once they're gone and out the house, you're like, what do I do next? Mm-hmm. It's a mantra that I've made into a life work for myself, as to remembering who I am as a mother.
That is amazing. You don't live for your children, you live for yourself. And I think there are so many moms, whether it's on our generation or our mother's generation, who are so wrapped up with living for their kids. And then, like you said, now what? Whether that's with their relationship with their husband or themselves, it's like, okay, who am I?
Who am I?
What does my relationship look like? What's my relationship with myself? So that's good. Mika, what about you? Do you have a motherhood mantra?
Yeah, so I would say my motherhood mantra is to always pour into myself, because if I don't pour into me, I cannot pour into my husband and my kids. So I'm so blessed that my husband will, just do things like get the kids so I can have some me time. Even if it's something like going to the third floor and falling asleep on one of those comfy chairs we have, just so that, and he'll say, don't go upstairs, leave mommy alone. Just to have some time to kind of just like, breathe. Because as moms, as you know, we're always doing for every single body. And then we're burnt out. And if we're burnt out, we can't even give anything of quality to our family or our children or our husbands. So.
Yeah, that's good. You can't pour from an empty pitcher. We can't refresh someone else's cup if they're in their glass, if there's nothing in our pitcher. Mine, I'll say, is I look at myself in the mirror and I'd be like, you doing it, sis. You are doing it. If you listen to the podcast too, like my husband thinks I'm crazy. I wake up in the morning, I'd be like, you better, yes, look at this. Curls, chocolate, yes, brows, lips, ooh. Like I do this to start my day, to invigorate myself. I am not a morning person. I have to drag my ass out the bed. So when I see myself in the mirror, I need to tell myself this is going to be a great day, and you are doing it. So I look at myself in the mirror and I say, you are doing the damn thing.
Yeah,
and it's sometimes
I'm up at 7 a.m. I'm ready, but around 12, 1 o'clock, I crash. And it's
not me. When the sun goes down, I'm like, okay, time to go to the lab and get started. I'm the total opposite.
I'm up until 8 a.m. every night.
You're an evening person? You're a night owl?
Yes, I'm up all types of night, and I'm just like, even in my stories, I'm like, why am I awake? I'm doing a Peloton ride at literally 11:45 to get in for that day, and I'm riding out to midnight.
That's me too. I am totally up all night. But sometimes we have to speak those things that we do not see as though they were, just from a spiritual sense. We have to speak that life into ourselves. There's a lot of power in the tongue. There's a lot of power in things that we say. So I recommend to those of you in the chat, who are watching, if you don't have a mantra, if you don't speak those affirmations, come up with some. It could be very simple. I love you. You got this. Those are mantras that we can speak to ourselves. If you do have some, drop them in the chat so we can share them with one another and learn from one another. While you guys are dropping those in the chat, I have the next question, Shanisha. I'm going to start with you this time. We are parenting our children in a time that no other generation of parents can really even relate to, between this pandemic and everything else that's going on right now. What have you learned about yourself in this season? And what or where have you drawn from to guide you in this very unique season?
That's a really heavy question. I'm formulating an answer as I talk right now. But I think during this time has definitely been difficult because we're all experiencing something that we did not think was possible in our lifetime, and it's a good thing because I feel like actual change is being made. But when it comes to having children, it's like, how do we talk to our kids about race? At first, we were struggling to talk to them about why they were out of school, because of COVID. Mm-hmm. And then it somehow got turned into, okay, now how do we talk to them about what it's like to be, the Black kid, and where's this energy coming from when the kid on the playground tells you can't play with them? And so part of Black Mom's Blog, I've written articles about this, but it became painfully real during the season. And so for me, when it comes to my kid, Cameron is special because her mother runs Black Mom's Blog. So, we're always having these conversations about this is like, skin is beautiful, this is your hair, so on and so forth. But I don't know if you necessarily meant concerning racism, but to me, racism is not a Black problem. I don't need to talk to my child about, racism and this is how you do it differently. It's up to parents to talk to their children and to talk to themselves. And so recently I did a Share the Mic Now with Katrina Scott. And I had an entire conversation with her audience about how to talk to your children about race and gave them like a few tidbits here and there for things they can do, from buying multicultural dolls to showing up as the minority in their education, because their children are taught in school that Black history starts with slavery. And I'm like, no, it doesn't, taking that time to teach their children about, Black history and Black culture. But the way I blue in the face about talking to your child, but I'm really talking to you. We only teach our children what we truly believe in. And so you have to truly believe that that racism is your problem. It's your ancestors, and you have to take accountability for that. And when you really believe in it, everything that you teach your children, this conversation is going to flow so easily, and it's just going to work. And so for me, when I think about how to talk to my daughter and how I found ease in that, I know that what we're doing is the right thing. And that's what I was trying to portray to them. If you believe it in your heart that what we're going through is going to lead us to a better place, you're going to go with the ebbs and flow with ease. And you're going to smooth through this. And so I think during this year, I think we all knew 2020 would be different, but we didn't expect for it to be different. But for the most part, I feel like it's also a lesson in stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
That's right.
Because I was like, oh, okay. All right, God, I hear you. And it just went from there, and it was okay. So I'm not going to say there were no sleepless nights, but once I got a firm handle on what was happening, I was actually able to really enjoy this time and space and learning about my child, because I'm her mother, and I realized we didn't spend much time together. Now she's in the house with me 24 hours a day. I'm feeling sorrow for her teacher. You know, I'm looking at Google Classrooms like, what is this life? But it just really taught me a lot about myself and how I parent and my daughter.
Yeah, thank you so much. And in the last session, we talked about parenting Black and brown children, and we had some really deep conversations about race. And I think the takeaway from that session for those who weren't in it was that it really begins at home, and that these conversations that we're having with our children at home are really the foundation for their confidence when they step out into the world outside of the safe spaces that we're trying to create for them in the home. Also, you mentioned the Share the Mic Now campaign. That is phenomenal work that you did through that campaign. And I'm so proud of Lovey and Glennon and all of the women who kind of sparked that movement, and all 50 of the women who participated, and all of the white influencers who gave up their mic for a day. I thought that was just phenomenal work. It brought me to tears. So I'm so grateful for that. Shanisha, I don't know, Mika, can you see her video? I think we lost her video.
Your video's out, but we can still hear you.
We can hear you. Yeah. So I don't know if you can maybe hit the video button to see if you can refresh there. But while you're doing that, Mika, I want to ask you the same question. So I'll read it for you one more time. We're parenting in our children in a time that no other living generation of parents can even relate to. So what have you learned about yourself in this season? And what or where have you drawn from to guide you in this unique season?
I'm going to say this has been such a different season for sure. For me, just growing up, like I was telling my husband, growing up in the city, all I saw was black everything. Just growing up in Baltimore, I had Black doctors, Black teachers. Like I had Black teachers all the way until high school is when I started having white teachers. So I've always just really loved being Black. That's all I saw was Black culture growing up. For me, just trying to teach my kids, like Shawnee said, it doesn't start with slavery. So I really love that, because I think I saw something where somebody said that they don't teach their kids that our history started with slavery. We need to teach before that. So teaching about the kings and the queens and just the more positives on Black culture. The way that I kind of vent, I'm gonna be quite honest, is just venting with my friends, because it's so draining to go to social media and boom, someone else is shot by the police. It's just every single day. You just see something negative, someone Black dying in the streets. So what I've been doing is, honestly, I vent with my best friends. We have a group chat. I just let it all out in the chat. Just let it out, because you got to keep it real. This stuff is hard. This stuff is heavy. It's draining. I have 3 Black sons and a Black daughter. I just can't imagine. My husband, he goes running in our neighborhood. You know what I mean? I just can't even think. And I constantly crack my husband up, because I'll say stuff like, let it, I wish somebody would, they'll be dead. You wouldn't have to fire that officer. He'd be dead the next day.
You take him right back to Baltimore quick.
I just can't. It's you have to constantly pray. You have to have your circle. If you have your husband praying for your family. It's just, for me, I don't even know if I have the words. It's just so baffling. Only thing that I can do is say, just find your tribe, vent when you need to, pray over your babies, pray over your family, and just teach them. Like, you don't have to teach about slavery, but teach them things that they can do if they were to have an interaction with the police. So those are some good tips as well. And I think the last session, they gave so many awesome tips and books for kids. I was taking some great notes. So yeah, it's a lot. It's draining. Like, I feel exhausted talking about it. It's just Monique and I did a topic, raising Black kids, and we didn't even scratch the surface because it was so heavy. The topic was it's just a heavy topic in general. So.
And I've been thinking a lot lately, like women will do this, we'll come to these conferences and we'll listen to podcasts and we'll get in these conversations. But my heart's been so heavy for my husband and for the men who maybe they would have had these conversations casually in their sports group chats or at the barbershop, but all those things are not happening right now. There's no sports, there's no barbershop, there's no opportunities for them to connect. And so they have to take another level. I know this is for moms, but they have to take another level of really intentionally seeking out those conversations. And they've been taught so long to hold and stuff all of that down, right? And it's coming out in different ways. So I think for those of us who do have partners or husbands, I think that it is important for us to try to really open those lines of communication with them as well and let our Black men get it out, because it's just a lot for everybody. I think it's a lot.
So that is so true.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it today.
Yay. Check. All right, Shanisha, we have you back, video and audio.
I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm going in and out. It's raining here. Maybe it's that, but I'm like, I can see y'all. So let me know if it goes out again, okay?
Okay, I'll let you know. The devil is a liar. We will continue forward with this conversation, okay? Mika, I'm going to start with you on this one. There are often conversations about not comparing our parenting styles to others. However, we'd like to talk about what you may have learned from other parents, whether they be friends, your age, regarding your parenting of your own children. Are there tidbits that you have been able to take away from other moms?
Yeah, I think for me, it is for me because, like I said, I didn't grow up with a mom. My grandmother raised me and my sisters. We were considered foster kids. So I did have to reach from my circle of friends and even just mentors to get tips. And you get those tips, but you tweak them and you perfect them to your own style. You know how some parents back in the day, your kids, you got whooped, you get a whooping. I don't whoop my kids. Like, I don't want to be beating on my kids. I'm not going to say they've never got a pop, you know what I mean? But I just don't want to put fear in I don't want my kids to just fear me. Like, so you need to fear me. So that's something that I never really wanted to take back from just learning other parenting styles. I personally want to make sure that I keep my communication open with my kids so that they can feel comfortable asking me anything. And I have like the funniest story just to show how open we are. My 7-year-old Maverick, he came to us. He was like, "Mommy, I have to tell you something." And I was like, "Okay, what?" He said, "When I wake up sometimes, my penis just sticks straight up." And I was like,
I'm so happy I have a girl.
I was like, "What this?" I said, "What? Well, what is that?" He was like, "I try to push it down and it goes right."
I am not ready for that.
I say, "Well, you know what? I think you need to talk to daddy since you guys have penises and we don't." And even just like with my 3-year-old, my daughter is the oldest, she's 11. So my 3-year-old, I was using the restroom and he came in and he was like, "What's wrong with your penis?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "It's gone. What's wrong with your penis?" Get out of here. So just keeping, I never had these kind of conversations. Even my grandmother, I don't remember learning about using a pad. I learned that at school. My daughter, Elle just had her cycle. So I wanted to make sure that I did everything that I didn't do. So that's how my learning style is mostly the things that I didn't get. I want to make sure that I'm giving to my kids. So I had like a little basket full of stuff. We talked about it. I checked on her. I wanted to give her a little bit of privacy, but I wanted to check back in. So I guess my experience is all through life, but you just have to know at the end of the day, you're going to be the best mom for your kids. And it's always, don't ever feel bad about asking for help because we don't know everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
Shani, I'm learning stuff just talking to you today. And this is my first time chatting with you. Yeah. So find you a good tribe of people and just, keep your circle really close. So that's my tips. I will go over, but
that's good. Having that open line of communication. We were talking in the last session, and we talked about this a little bit on my podcast as well. We had a mama series about like how sometimes when we're dealing with our own stress and pressure, that shows up in ways that are not healthy for our kids. And when we talk about not beating our kids, like, is that our frustration? You know, I mean, when we think about the ways that we discipline our kids, is that something with us that we need to work on internally? So I think that was so valuable because by offering those open lines of communication, Maverick did feel comfortable coming to you to have that conversation, right? So that is a testament to how you're mothering him.
Right.
So Shanisha, same question for you. There are a lot of discussions about not comparing our parenting styles, but we really want to talk about what you learned from other parents or friends in your same age or in your tribe or group.
I mean, I really have to piggyback off of what Mika said. It's just, conversations. I feel like from other moms, I've learned how to have certain conversations with my daughter, or learn how I don't want to have certain conversations with my daughter. And even on Black Moms Blog, we are a collaborative blogging platform. 70% of the articles written on Black Moms Blog are written by other mothers. And so it's a source for mothers to be able to go online and find out, how can I mother in a way that might be different, or what can I learn from talking to other women? It goes back to just the importance of building that tribe. And someone asked on here, how do I find the tribe if I'm in a mostly white neighborhood? Be online. We can't always go outside, especially right now. And so, for myself, it's just mostly been finding ways to have those hard conversations with my daughter. When her father and I separated, I didn't know what to do. She was 3 years old. I went online and I started subscribing to women that talked about co-parenting and how to have healthy relationships with your ex when it comes to parenting your children. And so we don't know it all. Like you said at the beginning of this chat, we're not going to be perfect, but we can learn from our sisters. And even what Mika said about periods, that's one of our main components on Black Moms Blog. That's our initiative every year. We do a menstrual drive, and we have a period party here in Atlanta every year where women bring their daughters, their cousins, their little sisters, and we have a panelist that talks about, we have a panel of women that talk about our menstrual cycles, how they work, because for a lot of us, it was the same way, right? You didn't know about it. You learned, you unfolded the paper and the little white lady showed you how to do it, and that was our experience. And so for me, I look at that and I say, I want my daughter is 7 and she knows what a period is. She can explain to you about the uterus lining of the wall. She knows it all. And so when I look at that, and I'm like, when she turns, I started my cycle at 12. When she turns 12, hopefully hormones don't have her start before then in the food. But I hope that when she starts it, she's confident to know how to lead that. Because as parents, we're always raising children that are going to be more intelligent, empathetic, and more aware than we are. But we learn that from other women. We don't have all the answers.
Yeah, I think another takeaway from what you both said is language is important. And I noticed that the language that we're using to describe body parts to our children, we're not using your cookie and your pee and your wee and all this kind of stuff. I think that's important, even from a young age, just awareness of their body and being comfortable with who they are. So that's major. All right, one more question in this session, and then we're actually going to transition to a quick activity and Q&A in the last 10 minutes. So the last question is, what have you done or continue to do to challenge yourself to learn your kids' personalities and interests? Therapy, books, one-on-one time. Shanisha, I'll start with you because you have one. Mika, you got 4 kids, so you give you a little time to think about it. So what have you done or continue to do to challenge yourself to learn your kids' personality or interest?
I'm just going to start off by saying Mika's probably going to answer this way better than me because I only got one child. And one thing I've learned from my parents and multiples, I apply y'all every single day because my daughter gives me a run for my money all the time. But the thing that I try to do with her is check in with her. I'll ask her, how do you think I'm doing as a mom? Are you happy? Is there something that I could do more? And it's multiple reasons for that. One, I want to create, it's always been my idea to create this safe space with my daughter. When she's older and her teens and puberty's happening, I'm still going to be mom, but I want her to feel comfortable and safe enough to come to me and say, hey, I need a moment of safe space where she can tell me anything. I don't care what it is. And in that moment, I have to promise not to get upset, but to hear her and help her come up with a solution. I feel like at 7 years old, I'm teaching her that now by checking in with her. And I talk to my daughter like she's a person. I don't talk to her like she's just a child and she doesn't know any better. I think we're out of that era of telling kids, do what I say and not as I do and because I said so. And so I try to explain to her, if she has a question, I try to answer the question. If I don't know the question, I show her how to look it up on Google. I'm trying to raise an adult, not a child. One day she's already closer to adulthood than she's going to be to childhood. So I'm raising her in a way to be self-confident and be able to, be a sufficient person. And so that starts with teaching her how to express, okay, I love my mom, but I'm not happy right now with something you're doing. Can I tell you that? Are you going to be upset with me? And so just, that's something that I do. I try to check in with my daughter constantly, at least once a week. And we sit down and we have a conversation about how am I doing right now? Because I may not be doing that great. Do you think I'm doing okay? Is there something that you need? Let me know so we can fix it. So
that's fantastic. Yeah. Mika.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me say I need to do some check-ins, and I think it's going to be funny. So I look forward to doing some check-ins. That's a great tip.
Yes.
One thing that we were doing pre-COVID, we were trying to make sure we were intentional with giving each of the kids a like one-on-one time. So just having like a mommy-daughter date or a mommy and Mav date. Jagger, and then you have kids. They're so different. Let me just say this: each kid is extremely different. So for me, the number one thing for me when you have multiple kids is to make sure you're not comparing them, and that's been a huge transition for me with Elle and Maverick being in school, and now Jagger's starting kindergarten this year. And if you know Jagger, he's just kind of like my child who's just so serious. He doesn't give a darn. He's on Zoom calls like this. Like it, or it's so just for me, I think it's learning each child's love language or learning their different, learning them as an individual person and not as a whole as the Harrell kids. But I need to know Elle, Maverick, Jagger. I know each of their love language. Elle's love language is gifts. She wants it all. She wants money. She wants clothes. Maverick is words of affirmation. Jagger, he is also, I'm going to say Jagger he likes words of affirmation, but he likes things as well. So he's kind of in between. And Axel is touch. He's touchy McTouchington. So he wants to touch you all day long. So I think if first can maybe figure out their love languages and try to, I don't know how to do it now with COVID, but try to incorporate one-on-one time. But I think what you said was really perfect. Just checking in. And I really need to do that because, as I said, I'm learning as I go and learning from my own experiences. So I never really had those times to talk to my mom or my grandmother. But I think that was so genius just to check in, something simple as checking in with your kids.
And they don't need a lot. So even during COVID, if you can't go outside, take them to the kitchen and let all the other kids go upstairs and watch something on TV. Children just need you.
That's
the
true.
Front porch, the back porch, the living room. They don't need a lot.
See, I'm learning too, guys.
Yeah, I'm learning too. I'm taking notes. I have a toddler, so you all are ahead of me, and I'm just taking copious notes here as I'm listening to this conversation. So as we transition into these last 10 minutes, I said this in the last session, Hopper will cut you off quick, and I'm not trying to get cut off. So I'm trying to make sure we have our buffer. I want to have this discussion around parenting in a pandemic. There is so much rich conversation happening in this chat. Y'all are asking questions and answering questions over here. Y'all are having your own whole session panel going on over here, and I love it. I want to bring everyone who's watching into the fold. So I'm going to share 4 areas around parenting in a pandemic, and I want to hear some practical tools that you all may have implemented in your homes with regard to each one of these sessions. And then, of course, our panelists will be sharing this as well. So practical tools that you've implemented or that you might recommend for moms with regards to each of these different sections. The first is scheduling in the pandemic. How have you been managing scheduling and routine in the pandemic? So go off in the chat and we're going to discuss it here.
Are we discussing it now?
Yeah.
Through our schedule out the window. I don't have time for this schedule. I'm not here for nobody's schedule. My kids are chilling at 9:00 watching a movie so I can fold this laundry. I'm not here to be anybody's perfect parent. We having fun during this pandemic, okay? That's why I'm here. I'm home. I'm getting more time with my kids. The schedule's gone. I wrote a schedule at the beginning, and it's just sitting on the refrigerator with a magnet. Ain't no schedule. There's none.
Mika says no schedule, bitch. Her schedule is in the trash.
Mine's a little opposite. I had to, because in the very beginning of the pandemic, I was like, and it was more so about teaching my daughter how to have separate togetherness, because I live in a city. My apartment is tight. I mean, it's small. And me and my daughter were right up under each other. And so I was trying to, like, you know, be everything for her every second of the day and show up and do all this. And I was like, look, from this time to this time, this is you time. I need you to figure it out. At the beginning of the pandemic, I ordered puzzles, games, notebooks, coloring books, paint sets, everything, things that she could learn how to do on her own. And when we would wake up, we eat breakfast, she do her Google Classroom, because mom still has to work. You know, a lot of us as parents still had things we had to do. And I work from home anyway, doing the blog and other things. But I still needed, it wasn't even just about work. I needed me time. I needed my own space. And so I like to take baths in the middle of the day. And I'd be like, hey, girl, for this hour, I need to figure it out. The door is cracked, but do not enter unless it's an emergency. And so I needed a little bit of a schedule just to keep her in line.
Yeah.
I love that. And we have both sides of the spectrum in the chat. We got Mika, you're my BFF, you're my spirit animal, no schedule. And then we got, you know, I got multiple schedules over here that we run in for all my kids. So we got loose schedules all the way to running a tight ship. Like I said, I have a toddler. Toddlers need routine. Our mama need a routine. So we have a schedule in terms of like what time she naps, what time she goes to bed, what time she eats, because that makes it more predictable for me to jump on calls and get work done and you know, do what I got to do, because it's just me and my husband in here and she runs the house. So we have a schedule.
Somebody now, we're the queen of schedule.
Now, what we do between lunch and nap time is completely up to that toddler. As you guys know, with little ones, they have, you know, minds of their own. All right. Second topic, emotional support. What practical tools and resources do you all have around emotional support in a pandemic?
Sister Circle. I can't stress it enough. I just did a live with Queen Afua, and we talked about the importance of women finding their sister circle and their group and their community. And Mika talked about it earlier. If you need a vent, you need to get things off your chest. And social media may not be the best place to put your initial thoughts and feelings on everything. Call your friend, call your mama, call your daddy, call somebody and talk to them in a safe space. It's all about creating a safe space and a circle of women around you that understand your heart.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah, so therapy, just like I started doing teletherapy recently, but I have started, and then I kind of stopped during the pandemic because I'm so focused in doing stuff around the house. And that's my husband. I was like, I haven't had a therapy session in a minute. It's not that I'm upset or anything like that, but still just kind of keep that routine since I just started. So having teletherapy, having group chats, you know, and just venting when you need to. So or
nice.
Circle for sure.
We've got some folks in the chat saying they need a sister circle. They don't know where to find one. I have a new initiative. Shanisha's in Atlanta. I have a new initiative that I've just started under Love Madden called Virtual Dinner Parties. So you can connect and have, you know, meet with other women in a virtual setting over dinner. We're going to be launching that in July. So if you want to sign up, go to lovemadden.com and you can sign up there for virtual dinner parties. I'll be sending some information out about that soon. But I mean, we can't be face-to-face like we used to. We can't go out for happy hour like we used to. So, you know, let's find a way to make that happen in this space. All right, what about play dates? How are you all supporting your kids and their sister circles and their brother circles with their friends? How are you all doing that? That's tricky.
Yeah, it's easy for me because they all at home. They playing with each other.
Yeah, right.
Too loud. They got no
one. She's got 4 kids.
That's true.
I have to say this. So during the pandemic, at the beginning of it, my daughter would get on Zoom calls. But for the last 3 years, my mother keeps my daughter in the summer. So I'm childless right now, y'all. I feel like I can sit down on a motherhood conference that I have no child until the end of July. And so my mom's figuring out the play date. She's down there hanging out with her cousins. She's having a good time.
Nice. Nice. So family for sure. And then over here in the chat, I see Zoom. I see online. Keeping her involved in classes like dance classes on Zoom. So that's good. Sending mine away. People send them kids away for the summer.
Away.
Somebody said her baby needs some friends. Latoria said her baby needs some friends. So she is her baby.
These comments are hilarious. That's exactly how I feel. Yeah.
All right, and then one more before we close. Academic support. What I'm hearing, my baby's not in school yet, is everybody's over the distance learning. Even the teachers saying they ain't signed up to be no homeschool teacher. So what are you guys doing around academic support right now?
You want to
For me, so I was also working. So for me, the one thing that I found that was the best fit for our family was to work 4 hours in the morning and 4 hours at night. So I could kind of help my kids in the middle. So Maverick, Elle's self-sufficient. She'll go to the computer, wake up, she make her little breakfast, and she'll go do her work. We just have to double check and make sure she got her assignments in. For Maverick, at first he was wanting to sit beside me all day long with this iPad, y'all, trying to do his work. And I said, this ain't working, son. So, so now just like splitting my day, kind of working with him, and then trying to do some one-on-one, trying to do something with the toddlers. You can't, I mean, I'll be honest, it's hard when you're trying to help my first grader that's going to the second grade and make sure your fifth grader that's going to the sixth grade. The toddlers, the Terror Squad been teaching themselves, okay? And Miss Monica's Circle Time has been it. Miss Monica's Circle Time. That's who's been teaching my toddlers.
Thank God for resources. Shanisha, what about you?
I'll keep it super short. I just tried to make learning fun. My daughter's in first grade. And so their learning hour hasn't really been much outside of coloring some pictures. And so we had a thing where we had to learn the continents, and she had to pick 2 countries out of every continent. And she had till 9 p.m. that night to give me 5 sentences on those continents. So I just try to keep it fun, but also make her self-sufficient in her own learning.
I love it. Do you homeschool?
Do you homeschool?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am. That's wrong, no. Ladies, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your presence, for your heart, for your stories. It has been so illuminating for us to hear from you all. Thank you to the women in the chat. This has just blessed my soul. So I'm so grateful. I love you both. Thank you, guys. I love you, everybody in the chat. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Bye.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.